Hi, my name is Zandile Mkwati, and today we are going to talk about gender sensitivity. What starts as a whisper can often lead to violence, and this is the case with gender discrimination and gender-based violence. What some may think are silly jokes, passing glances, or joking comments all play a role in normalizing gender inequality. So today, let's look at gender discrimination, sexual harassment, and gender-based violence. Let's first take a look at gender discrimination in the workplace. Examples of gender discrimination will be not getting a job or promotion because you're a woman, being paid less because you're a woman, and being criticized on your looks, your weight, or how you dress. The labor law states that all workers, regardless of gender, have the same rights, yet women still face these challenges daily in the workplace. Any discrimination based on gender in the workplace is illegal. And as a woman, you have a legal right to report any gender-based discrimination to the company heads. And if the company does not handle it correctly, you have every right to dispute the matter in the court of law. It is then important for men to be aware of gender discrimination in the workplace and to stand with women against such discrimination. If you, as a man, see that a female colleague has been unfairly treated due to their gender, it is also your responsibility to report the issue. So, when you think of sexual harassment, what do you think of? Many of you will think of inappropriate touching. Well, while it is a severe form of sexual harassment, it is not the only form of sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is any unwelcome or unwanted sexual advance or any sexual suggestion which makes you feel offended, humiliated, or intimidated. The following are all forms of sexual harassment: sexually suggestive texts, telling a sexually inappropriate joke, looking at a co-worker's breasts, winking at your co-worker, or continuing to ask a co-worker on a date. Intrusive questions about the private life of your co-worker. When approaching sexual harassment, remember it is not limited to what someone does, but how others may feel. You may feel that telling a female coworker she looks gorgeous is a compliment. However, she may likely feel intimidated or offended by the comment, no matter how well-intentioned it may have been. Regardless, it is unprofessional in any account to address someone on the way they look. When it comes to reporting gender discrimination or sexual harassment in the workplace, there are two ways of approaching the situations. The first is the informal way. This is when the victim of discrimination tries to sort out the problem without lodging a workplace complaint. So how do you do this? Here are some steps. 1. Talk to the abuser and ask him to stop the behavior that makes you feel uncomfortable. And if you feel uneasy about doing this alone, ask a friend to accompany you. 2. Write a letter to the abuser outlining why you feel uncomfortable and ask him to stop. And remember to keep a copy of the letter. 3. If you are concerned about approaching the abuser directly, ask someone else to speak to the abuser on your behalf. If the informal way does not change the situation, you need to use the formal way of reporting gender abuse or discrimination. 1. Place a formal complaint with your manager or your HR manager, or follow the company's formal procedure for reporting abusive incidents. State the time frame in which the matter needs to be dealt. 2. The company must then respond to the report with a disciplinary hearing. 3. If the company does not have a formal means of reporting abuse or does not attend to the grievance with a disciplinary hearing, the grievance can then be referred to the CCMA. It is important to keep a written record with the time, date, and a place of the abuse. Record what was said and who heard it. Any form of discrimination, harassment, or bullying on the basis of race needs to be taken seriously, recorded, and reported. Gender discrimination is not limited to the workplace. Gender-based violence is deeply rooted in gender inequality and continues to be one of the most notable human rights violations within all societies. Gender-based violence includes sexual assault, rape, human trafficking, emotional abuse, forced prostitution, domestic violence, and these can take many other forms. Many forms of gender-based violence are rooted in the power inequalities between men and women. And this is why it is important to report gender discrimination in the workplace, to report sexual harassment, and to report any form of gender bias. By not reporting gender discrimination, you are paving the way for gender-based violence. Gender-based violence stems from gender discrimination. So when you see or experience any form of gender discrimination, you need to confront or report it immediately. The gender power dynamic is incredibly important for both men and women to understand. It is so entrenched in society that we often tend to let it go unnoticed. The gender power dynamic is incredibly important for both men and women to understand. It is so entrenched in society that we often tend to let it go unnoticed. But by looking the other way, we are only worsening the problem. Both men and women need to remain constantly aware of this power imbalance. Whether we are in a meeting, at home, at lunch with colleagues, or chasing deadlines, gender discrimination cannot be tolerated, and changing this power imbalance starts with us. My name is Zandile Mqwati. Thank you so much for joining me.